and Nikola Jokic now. Let's go back and look at what they do in the All-Star game. Is that competition? So we haven't questioned what they've been doing, but we're going to question the old heads and the Americans. But these two dudes out there, Luka and Jokic, they don't care about the game at all. These dudes be laying on the floor, they shoot from half court, but you got to worry about the old heads playing hard.
Hey, last I checked, everyone's playing in the same league, SA. What do you think about what Kevin Durant just said?
Kevin Durant is not a dummy. He's a brilliant brother, and he's a 16-time All-Star, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest scorers this game has ever seen, one of the most elite players this game has ever seen. It just doesn't make him right. First of all, folks didn't call out the old heads. They called out everybody. They called out All-Star Weekend. You know, last time I checked, the only thing we've celebrated in recent memory, David, Vinny, is the three-point shooting contest. We haven't celebrated the slam dunk contest either, because we haven't seen enough people willing to participate in it. And then All-Star Weekend, meaning the Sunday game, what really turned everybody off was the flagrant lack of effort. There is no excuse, and I'm gonna just let y'all know what I've said without y'all being on the air with me, and put them up so I can see my boys as I'm saying this. There is no excuse on earth for us to see you putting forth more effort playing around in the summer, working out, than you showing us at an All-Star Weekend. No excuse for that. Nobody's asking you to play like it's a regular season game or it's a playoff game. We're just saying, damn, y'all, show just a little bit of effort. You working out during the summer. We see highlights of y'all working out, and we see y'all going harder than what we see at All-Star Weekend. And we've heard the complaints how cats ain't getting paid, how the league caters too much to sponsors and advertisers and all of this other stuff. So that was fodder as an excuse for justifying the flagrant lack of effort that you was putting forth. Irvin Magic Johnson years ago, Irvin Magic Johnson said, asked him, you going to the game? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, they don't care, why should I care? Now, I haven't spoken to him about it recently, but that was years ago because it was a concern. We saw Magic, Isaiah, MJ, and them having fun, not giving max effort. We're not talking about that. We're talking about no effort. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about no effort whatsoever, where people come to see All-Stars playing basketball and the All-Stars are refusing to play basketball. That's what we're talking about. That's what they've done to allow the product to regress and lose its sizzle and its significance. This is like the third or fourth alteration of an All-Star game. Why would you have to alter the game if Cat showed up and showed a modicum of effort? You wouldn't have to. They're doing all of this to find different ways to get the All-Stars, not the old heads, not a couple of dudes. We're talking about All-Star Weekend. Literally All-Star Weekend, where you see cats not even playing basketball, just running around acting like it's a damn layup line. It's ridiculous, and you haven't given the audience what it wants, and they've been telling you for years, and you've given them the proverbial middle finger, like the Seahawks just did, basically to the audience saying, bump y'all, we here, you lucky we here. We gonna do what we wanna do. That's what you've done. That's what we're lamenting. Nothing more.
So if we're going to talk about what KD said, we're going to talk about what KD really said. Kevin Durant, when he said last night, I said it with jokes and all that thing, what he said is that he is tired of the way that everybody uses when they talk specifically about NBA players, Black American NBA players. They always use every excuse to call them lazy and say that they don't deserve the money that they get. This is a conversation that comes around all the time, and they use it specifically around All-Star games. They use it with load management, use it with all this other stuff talking about these players. And Kevin Durant is simply pointing out everybody treats this game the same. Ask Luka these questions. Ask Jokic this question. Why is it when the NHL has a competitive U.S. versus the world tournament last year, it's about how the NBA players are lazy and you're making character judgments on NBA players? That's what Kevin Durant is saying in that comment. He is saying, don't pinpoint us and use it as an excuse to call us lazy when everybody treats the game the same way. Now, we're talking about...
question.
Yeah.
Is he right? I'm
He's
saying,
absolutely-
I know you're saying what Kevin Durant is saying. Is he right in your mind?
Absolutely right.
Are they calling out just black NBA players?
They're using the way that the All-Star game is to talk about these 100 millionaire black American players. Absolutely, Stephen A. They did it all last year. You were here last year when they talked about the hockey tournament and using it to talk about NBA players. They do this in any way, any excuse that they can to talk about these players. They don't deserve the money. They don't respect the game and all stuff. That is part of the conversation at all times. And Kevin Durant also is right here, and I'm going to make this point too, is that when we're talking about All-Star games, the All-Star games are never really competitive. They were like, we have some games that we remember. I remember the 2001 when Allen Iverson won MVP, 03 when
Dave, I'm going to stop you. I got to stop you. I got to stop you, bro. I got to stop you.
That's not true.
You're not going to do that.
When have we had, like, we have not had year after year of competitive All-Star games. You talk about Magic Johnson, the miraculous All-Star game they had with unforgettable 92. He hit a three at the end of the game. They stormed the court in the last 10 seconds and he finished the game. There's not about, it is about entertainment.
You're talking about one. David, you're talking about one. And while Kevin Durant isn't wrong, he's incomplete in what he's saying. Kevin Durant has made that point to me. Hey, why don't you guys give everybody else that? And I'm 100% with you. When we talk about NBA players, we are talking about black NBA players because they're 75%, and these guys are the torch bearers of it. But they are also, when you talk about LeBron and Steph and KD, these guys are the leaders in the locker rooms when these guys put forth no effort. When Oscar Robertson and Larry Bird and Adam Silver have to go in there and beg the NBA players to go out there and play, and then they go out and put up a 200-point performance, that gives credence to things that people are saying. David, I'm not saying that you're wrong when you're saying that the language is coded and that people are saying these guys are lazy, they don't earn their money and everything else. You're absolutely right. But you are incorrect when you say that All-Star games were never competitive. They were only competitive in spurts and points. Michael Jordan used to walk into the locker room every year and be like, hey, there's a difference between what the winners make and what the losers make. There was one All-Star game, Stephen A. Smith. I guarantee you were at this All-Star game in 2001 when Dikembe Mutombo was a member of the Atlanta Hawks. And because of what he did in the fourth quarter, the Philadelphia 76ers said, we're going to trade for this dude, and it helped them go to the NBA Finals. So if we're going to give LeBron and Steph, and yes, Kevin Durant, who I love as ball players, if we're going to say that you guys are the torchbearers for where this game is and that you guys have taken this game to another level, I'm also going to say that you guys set the example for the Anthony Edwards, for the Victor Wembanyama's, for the Cade Cunninghams. When those guys see you not giving a damn, they're not going to give a damn. And you want to know how I know that? Because those guys tell me that.
Well, let me say this to you, David. Let me say this to you to address your point as well, because I completely agree with Vinny. But because
you're not wrong.
Let me piggyback off of that. Because exactly. Let me add to this as well. I specifically said that it's not entirely competitive. We understand that. We've always understood that. You ain't playing 48 minutes of basketball and playing high-end competitive basketball. What I'm talking about is that it was never this flagrantly dismissive. Mm-hmm. It was never this it wasn't this bad, bro. It wasn't. And by the way, don't you ever come on this show and say that somebody questions whether or not these cats deserve their money. A KD, a LeBron, a Steph Curry. No one has ever questioned their money. We all know they deserve more than they get. LeBron should be paid more. Steph should be paid more. KD should be paid more. All of these brothers, they're all world. But the point is, because you're all world, and we've seen you working out in the summer with certainly not regular season or playoff effort, but certainly significantly more effort than you show at an all-star game. And then you reporting on the league, you know this, you hear them griping about why y'all always sweating us, because it's not like we get paid for doing this. You lucky we here, et cetera, et cetera. The paying customer sees that because they show that attitude on the court in recent memory. That's why these alterations to All-Star Weekend have taken place. And oh, by the way, we've said All-Star Weekend, no doubt. No doubt, people, you got this is America. You're going to have racist ass people and people who ain't even racist that call out the black folks and sit up there and talk about what they deserve. And stuff. I get that part. But when you're talking about All-Star Weekend, oh, it wasn't just them. It was everybody. All players on each spot, East and West. Nobody. Now, some people are more popular, so they get more of the shine or more of the cynicism. But the bottom line is everybody was talking about All-Star Weekend. You didn't blame one player or two players for what you saw All-Star Weekend. You blamed all the All-Stars because you didn't see, you saw a collective, lackadaisical, and dismissive effort. That is what has been going on for years. That is undeniable. The footage is there.
Look, I just think that we have a little bit of a rose-colored glass and a little bit of nostalgia when we talk about all-star games. We have always had very lax all-star games. We've had all-star games 30, 40, 50-point blowouts in all-star games. You can't tell me that every single year that there has been some sort of playoff level or high intensity. The games play out themselves. They play out if they're close in the fourth quarter. No matter who is on the court, they will get competitive in that last quarter.
David, we'll end the conversation like this. We're in the conversation like this. Are you sitting here on national television and denying? I'm saying what you said is absolutely right. Okay, fine. It wasn't that level of, again, we keep saying we're not expecting that. We've never seen that. But are you telling me over the last several years that you haven't seen a flagrant decline in effort on the border of just total disrespect and dismissiveness towards the league and the sponsors by players? You haven't seen that in terms of their effort on the basketball court. That is being made up. Is that what you're saying here this morning on the national
I would
television?
say some of the problems with the All-Star game last year is all the change to try to manufacture this hard plan when you're not going to get that every year.
I agree.
You're going to get that.
I agree, but that's not what I asked you.
No, you're going to get that level of competition. I'm answering.
So you're not going to answer that.
I'm answering. You're going to get that level of competition when you have a close game in the fourth quarter, and that is by happenstance. 2001 happened to be close. 03 happened to be close. 2014 happened to be close. Those games in the 90s, 30, 40, 50-point games, you cannot tell me that you were watching competitive basketball in the 90s when they were playing. You were watching the same level of player, the same level of talent.
He's not answering the question. You're not answering the question, David.
Bro, you're not going to last. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to last on this segment long if you don't answer questions. You got to answer the question. I asked you. I don't care what you see since the 80s, the 90s, 2000 and beyond. Are you telling us on national television
I'm watching the same game that I watched in the 90s?
5 to 10 years, hold on, you haven't seen over the last 5 to 10 years a flagrant decline in effort? Yes or no?
No, I'm
yes
not. I'm telling you. I am watching the same game. I'm watching the same. When they had the first game, when they changed the rules, the 24-point, that was not true. They double-teamed Steph in the corner to try to win the game. LeBron hit a fadeaway to try to win it.
That's not true.
They are playing competitive, the same level competitive basketball.
That's not true.
That's not true.
The
bar's the floor, and they can't meet that. The bar's the floor. Nobody's asking them to play regular season, even preseason basketball. They're saying go out there and provide a little resistance. The reason that we have all-star highlights from those years is because great offenses only made great offense in all-star games because there's a little bit of resistance there. They're just moving out the way. David, you cannot be, either you are not watching all-star games or you're being disingenuous, and I don't think you're being disingenuous. I think you are reacting to what you think is an overarching heavy criticism of the game and not necessarily watching the game the way that you should.
Two things could be true.
The quality of the game has gone down since Kobe Bryant left basketball. Usually there's one psycho, one maniac in the locker room that shames everybody into playing a little bit harder. But when I see Stephen Curry go in the middle of the floor, just lay down because somebody's going for a dunk, you've never seen that in an all-star game, no matter what type of blowouts that you may think about. You're talking about 1 or 2 blowouts. By and large, these games are somewhat competitive. That's not true, David. You're my guy, but don't do that.
All right.
You could be right. You could be right about what you're saying. Now, all of that stuff that you said could be absolutely true. But what we're saying is true about the flagrant decline in effort. It's blatant, bro. It's blatant, and there's no way around it. And it's proof in the pudding because the NBA keeps trying to come up with solutions to the damn problem. Clearly, it's a problem. Clearly, it's a
Pull
problem.
up a tape from like a 95 All-Star game and tell me those guys are playing.
Nobody's denying
different than
that.
It's the
Nobody's
same
denying
level of competition.
That's it's not the same.
Well, what we're saying
how
in
old
terms
are you?